So when you're writing your cover letter and CV and you're sending them off on spec, make sure you're tailored to the publication you're sending to. So don't copy and paste your covering letter for maybe all the different Bauer publications like Closer and Heat and more. Make sure you're focusing on who it is you want to work for and tailoring that letter specifically for that publication, and even more specifically for the actual desk and department you want to work on. When you're writing your CV, definitely put all your qualifications on there. Don't worry too much that your degree is not in magazine journalism or print or publishing. It's really about the skills that you have. It obviously is good if you've got a degree because it shows that you've got research skills, you can meet deadlines, etc. But really don't worry about how specific your degree is to the job you're applying for. It's really about your passion and your creativity and really what interests you and what you can bring to the team. So when you're writing a cover letter, keep it formal but friendly, not too friendly. We're not your mates, we're your potential employers, we're your potential managers. So have an air of professionalism in your letter, because when you join the team and you're in the office, we'll expect you to conduct yourself with professionalism and respect for the team, and I want that to come across in the cover letter as well. I also want the person to be good fun, because if I want them on the team, they need to be fun people to be around and creative. So you want a little piece of that as well in the cover letter. If you use too much of a friendly tone in your cover letter, that could be to your detriment. You're going to be going out in your job, meeting people, representing the brand, maybe interviewing celebrities, interviewing real life people. I don't want you speaking to those people in that overly friendly, matey tone. You've got to be professional. So I think if I read a covering letter that was just across the line, bit too matey, bit too informal, bit too chatty, I'd worry about what would happen when I sent you to that interview and meet those people. That's not a good thing. Sometimes you'll send your cover letter and CV in response to a job ad. Sometimes you'll just be firing them off in the hope that it will land on the right desk, the right time, just when that vacancy has arisen. The chance of that are very slim. So a lot of these CVs and cover letters that we get on spec can be slightly unfocused, or they're just sort of like chancing whether they can get a job at the magazine. Those people don't stand out. If you are sending it on spec, keep it focused. Tell us what it is you love, what you want to do, what you want to learn, what you can offer us, and those people will stand out. If you feel like you've been sending out CVs and covering letters for maybe months or maybe a year and not been getting much response or feedback, then it may be that the style of your covering letter and CV isn't quite working for you. So it might be a good idea to maybe contact a careers advisor or make contact with someone from the industry, whether that's at your local newspaper. See if you can befriend somebody and they can give you a helping hand. I think everyone's been there at some point in their career. So I know personally, if someone came to me for some help, a friend of a friend, for example, I would definitely help, because I think we've all been there in our lives and our career. So, you know, don't feel too disheartened, because if you get the right advice, then you can create that covering letter and CV that will really work for you. I think although a CV is quite a formal document, I mean, we do receive CVs that have got floral designs around the side, or there's different fonts, or it's written like a newspaper article. Sometimes they can work if the layout of it actually does work. I think sometimes people go a bit crazy and it just looks a bit messy, and as an employer you think, oh gosh, is that how their work's going to look when they're presenting their work to me? So I think if you are going to play around with the format, you have to do it really well and it has to work, because otherwise you might put off a potential employer. I personally would keep it quite clean. I would, if it's your first job, and you haven't had any previous employment or relevant employment, I'd perhaps start with your education or the most recent thing that you've been doing, and then go into your work experience straight away, any placements that you've done, any blogs that you have up and running, any websites that you might have created, your Facebook following, or if you've done a Facebook campaign that's really sort of stood out and created loads of likes. That's always quite interesting. And then any achievements that are relevant. I think things like the Duke of Edinburgh Award is not necessarily relevant, but it is quite an achievement, I think. I wouldn't necessarily put those types of things right at the top, but I still think they are relevant on your CV because it shows teamwork, initiation, decision making. So they're all skills that we want from somebody on our team anyway, even though it's not necessarily a placement at another magazine.